So there's some good news and not so good news. I guess you would call that bad news. The good news is, for all my video game fans out there, apparently there is in the works a remake of the Knights of the Old Republic video game that was made by Bioware back in 2003. And the somewhat not so good news, bad news is that apparently Rian Johnson has expressed interest in directing a Mandolorian episode. Let's just kick off with the good news. So it has been seemingly confirmed that Knights of the Old Republic is indeed getting a remake, and no, not a remaster. More often than not, remasters are just kind of an upgrade over an older game. Something to kind of give it a little boost, just a little bit of an upgrade compared to what it maybe looked like 10 years ago. Some games are in just such good condition and weren't made that long ago that they don't need to put extensive work into it. But this game is indeed getting a remake, and remakes are much more exhaustive. So tons of more manpower and resources are going to go into this. You're not just looking at a graphics update, you're looking at a completely rebranding and retooling of an entire game. Gameplay will be different, mechanics will be different, graphics will be drastically changed, even certain story elements. They might even add new story elements like side quests or more depth onto the actual story of the previous video game. And I think Knights of the Old Republic is a game that is in dire need of a remake. Over the past couple of years, so many people have been asking for some sort of remake or remaster of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and Lucasfilm and Disney have been quite silent on it. There's been no word that they were ever going to do it. And a fact for people who don't know this, when Disney originally bought Star Wars, they looked through the whole catalog of their lore and information they have, and they were tasked with deeming things that are canon and non-canon. So canon being the things that are concurrent within the saga and the universe, and non-canon which have no place in their story, and they basically rip them out. And the main character of Knights of the Old Republic video games is a very, very popular Sith Jedi character named Darth Revan. He happens to be on my top 5 list of favorite Star Wars characters as well. They did decanonize Darth Revan, which was very disappointing. But then when Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, you know those cool looking stormtroopers they threw into the movie, the Sith troopers, the troopers that were all in red, the troopers that we never got to see anything of, the troopers that literally died just the same way as a regular stormtrooper did, the troopers that literally had piss poor aim just as usual. Well, I guess Palpatine gave different sects of Sith troopers their own names. I guess there was a group of Sith troopers with the name Revan Squadron, so I do think they are making him canon once again. Who really knows? I mean, if you are remaking Knights of the Old Republic, I can only assume there is a plan for Revan, at least even if the plan is to just make him canon, making him a character that does exist in their Star Wars extended universe, then fine. But still, the fact that they would be remaking this game gives me the idea that there is a bigger picture for him in the future. Maybe there's even Knights of the Old Republic 3 coming out, because once again, a lot of people have always wanted a third sequel to that series. They've wanted that game to be a trilogy set. The game is not being remade by EA or Bioware. Bioware is far too busy with Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect as of right now. So this remake is being made by a company called Aspyr, and Aspyr as of recently has actually been the ones known to have somewhat remastered and remade other Star Wars games. Being a fan favorite game and being such a loved game amongst all communities, the game actually does go down as one of the best role-playing games of all time. And it actually kind of sucks because I do know the story of those games, but I never got to play it. I've always been a PlayStation gamer. I've never had an Xbox. I don't play on PC. I've never had the opportunity to actually play those games, and what a better chance than whenever they come out with that remake. That way I can have a modern day iteration of that game. And now for the bad news. And actually, I'm just gonna have Count Dooku here explain how I feel about it.
Oh no, my friend. This is a mistake, a terrible mistake. They've gone too far. This is madness.
So, Rian Johnson wants to direct an episode of The Mandalorian. I guess he had discussions with Dave Filoni, and he's made mention how much he loves the on-set atmosphere they have going on there, and just the technology and the cameras they're using, and that's cool. He's a dedicated filmmaker, I can give him that. When he's got something in mind and when he's doing something, he's dedicated to his craft. I'll give him that. I'm not the biggest fan of his movies. I thought Knives Out was overrated. I thought Looper was overrated. And I don't even need to get into how I feel about The Last Jedi. I just think from a company standpoint, you would be making one of the biggest mistakes letting him touch another property of Star Wars. This guy, ever since he did The Last Jedi, was promised a trilogy of his own. And it has been almost 5 years since his movie has come out, and there has been not one extra bit of detail or not even one word of his sequel trilogy actually coming out other than out of the mouth of himself, saying that he is still working on it and it is still in the plan. I don't want to sit here and say it's never going to happen, but I do honestly feel like we will never see the light of day of his trilogies, and I will not be mad if we don't. I won't really care. One thing I do have to say as well is I think we do have to split apart the idea of directing and making. Yeah, when you're directing, you're obviously making an image, you're making a movie or show, whatever. But the idea of him directing an episode of Mandalorian, that doesn't mean he would have his own say in his entire picture. What he would be there for is to fill out the small little details within that episode, because that whole story is being written and told by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So obviously, if Rian Johnson was to actually do an episode of The Mandalorian, you know, of course, even too after the backlash he received on The Last Jedi, you do know that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni would be right on his ass. Like literally, like right up into his face being like, okay, as long as you're not changing any of the story. And I don't think it's a bad thing that he wants to direct an episode. I think it's actually nice of him to applaud what they've been achieving with The Mandalorian and how much he actually likes it on set. But my thing is like, buddy, sorry dude, you screwed up, man. And you did leave a lot of bad taste in people's mouths, including me. It's okay to like the sequel trilogy, it's okay to like his movie, but you cannot deny how many people, and there's a huge amount of people who don't like the sequel trilogy or his movie, and those people can't be ignored as well. Lucasfilm does have to know that bringing on someone like him to even not just do his own trilogy set of movies, but to actually direct an episode of Mandalorian, a Star Wars show that has seen more success than any Star Wars, almost any Star Wars property since Revenge of the Sith, that Disney has put out. You know the backlash Lucasfilm and Disney will receive from that. I can already picture the comment section on all their social media posts right now. The amount of hate they would get just does not look good on their public standing. Lucasfilm is already on a hot seat. A lot of people don't stand well with them as is. The last thing Lucasfilm needs to do is something like this. I think it is in the best interests of Lucasfilm, the fans, and Star Wars as a whole if Rian Johnson just stays as far away as possible. Go focus on Knives Out 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 600 on your $500 million Netflix deal or whatever it was. You should be fine there. Well, that is it for now. Let me know down in the comments below, yes or no for Rian Johnson, and also give me a yes or a no for Knights of the Old Republic remake. I'm pretty sure those would all be yeses anyways. Make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with what I am doing on this channel and to keep up with all that goodness that I'm always uploading. Alright, until next time, see ya.